Yo, this is going to be my thoughts on Infinity Wars. If you know me personally, you know that I have been hyping this movie up like all freaking week. And then I finally went to go see it Thursday night. So the official release date was the 27th. I saw it the 26th. Um, and I gotta say, it was intense. It was exactly what I expected, good and bad. Bad as in not negative, but bad as in like I was in shock afterwards. I think I said like 3 words on the drive home. And so yeah, but was it a great movie? Yeah, it was a great movie if you have been following the universe. If you haven't been following the universe, then you're going to get confused. You're going to get lost, and your ability to connect to the characters might be a little hindered just because, like, Captain America has 10 lines, maybe, in the entire movie. The movie's with the 10 minutes of deleted footage that we just found out we're going to get, the movie is almost 3 hours long. And in that 3 hours, Cap might have like 14 lines, but he also had 3 other movies. So, and all the characters are like that, besides the new ones like Black Panther, Spider Man. But they've already been in other movies. So, the need to have screen time for them is cheated out because of that. You know what I mean? If your complaint is like, well, I didn't get to see much of so and so, well, they have a movie. So if you want to see more of them, you can go see it. Is it my favorite Marvel movie yet? No. I need to see it again to really get all the little details, but as it stands right now, Winter Soldier is still my favorite. And then probably this one, and then probably the first Avengers, just because that was the first time a company really took like 4 different movie plots, movie storylines, and then brought them all together. Um, but the movie overall was really about Thanos and his journey to collect the Infinity Stones. It's not really told from the perspective of the Avengers for the most part. The only Avenger that it's really told from their perspective would be Iron Man. Um, and then it relies heavily on the Guardians because Gamora has a huge part to play in the movie. She's the one that knows the last piece of the puzzle, and she's also the one that was Thanos' daughter. So she really plays a big part. So the most screen time goes to Thanos, Gamora, Thor. Even though his storyline in the movie is really linear, it's like he gets messed up, journey to get Thanos killing weapon, shows up on Earth. And that scene when he finally does show up on Earth is freaking epic, dude. I remember everybody in the audience was clapping and hooting and hollering. Um, but the stakes, man, they were like, I mean, I knew everybody was gonna die just because that's what happens in the comics. Thanos, he freaking snaps his finger in the comics, and the half of the universe disappears. And that's exactly what happened in the movie. They were playing up the snap. Gamora said he could snap his fingers. He said he could snap his fingers, at least in the trailer. That's probably one of the deleted scenes. He said, I could snap my fingers and you would all cease to exist. That scene actually isn't in the movie, as well as a bunch of other scenes that were in the trailers that aren't actually in the movie. Most likely because they're going to be in the extended version or they're just deleted scenes. I really hope they include all the deleted footage in an extended version. There's no like official word if they're going to do it or not. But if they did, that would make the movie almost 3 hours long. And now it's already the longest Marvel movie, but that would make it the longest Marvel movie by a lot. So by the end of the movie, I would say more than half. So his whole thing is like half of all life is going to be gone, right? But if you look at the Avengers, like the roster of Avengers, more than half of them are gone. Just because 50% of all life doesn't mean 50% of the Avengers. But the ones, if you look at it, the ones that are still alive are like the OG Avengers from the first movie. So you got the big four. Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man. Those guys are still alive. We don't know where Hawkeye's at, um, and then Black Widow's still alive. So when Hawkeye shows up, that would be the OG team. And I think what they're doing is in this movie they had all the new players, like Scarlet Witch is gone, Vision's gone, Black Panther's gone, Spider-Man's gone, Doctor Strange is gone, the Guardians are gone. Like all those dudes are gone because I think what they're doing is now in Avengers 4, it's going to really focus on the OG team trying to reset what Thanos did, and it's going to allow the fans to connect emotionally more to the OG team again. And then in my head, how I would like to see it go is Tony gets the stones or whatever, or maybe Steve gets the stones, and they go into the soul world, which is like that weird part where he snaps his finger and then all of a sudden he's talking to baby Gamora again. That's the soul world. And maybe Tony snaps his finger and he sees his dad, and then because Tony really only loves three things: his dad, but he's dead. We saw how much he loved his parents, and in Civil War, it fractured the Avengers. He loves Pepper, because in the beginning of the movie, it started with him talking to her about having a kid, in classic Tony fashion, beating around the bush. But then Tony really loves the Avengers, even though they're fractured, they're not on speaking terms, is what he says. But he really does love the Avengers. He was ready to sacrifice himself in the first one with the nuke. He was ready to sacrifice himself in the second one when he had to overcharge the core of Sokovia and blow it up. And he almost freaking died in this one when Thanos freaking stabbed him with his own sword. Like I thought that was it. I thought he was gonna die. But then he used his new suit, which is like nanotech. It's a play on the Prime Iron Man suit and the Bleeding Edge Iron Man suit that can, and those suits have the ability to mimic other suits or create like weapons and stuff, which is a big part of his suit. It's nanotech, so in the comics it comes out of his bones, but in the movie that would be kind of stretching it, so they just make it come out of this harness, I think he calls it, but it's like an arc reactor, but it stores nanobots, is what he tells Pepper, because it does bring up the fact that he had the arc reactor removed and he got rid of his suits, so the Model Prime is really the only suit he has at this point. So anyways, what I was saying, so it would be cool if he talks to his dad. His dad's like, in order to wield the gauntlet, you have to sacrifice something, which is the theory. So in order to get the gauntlet, Thanos had to sacrifice Gamora, the only thing he loved left, to acquire the Soul Stone from the Red Skull, which blew my mind, by the way. Freaking Red Skull showed up again. And that was like a question that had been raised by fans forever. Where the heck is the Red Skull? Because he doesn't really die. He just gets sucked up into the Tesseract. And that was in like phase 1, Captain America, the first Avenger. So this is like, the movie connects like everything. The freaking director said it's going to tie up all the loose ends, and I think it did a solid job. It created new ones, but so Tony's sitting there talking to his dad, and then he's like, what do you love? In order to wield the gauntlet, you have to love something, and then he comes to the conclusion that he just loves the Avengers. And they would be cool if they didn't even like say that. He just like turned, and then the OG Avengers are there. And then it's like it becomes obvious to the audience that he would have to sacrifice the OG Avengers in order to reset what Thanos did. And then, it would be funny, like Thor, because he's been around forever, he's like, I've been ready to die for thousands of years. And then Cap could say something like, well, I've already been dead, so it's nothing new to me. And then none of the other people have died, so they would just have to be like, it's okay, Tony, whatever. That would blow my mind. I might actually be done watching the Marvel movies after that. Because if they did that, then the OG Avengers would all be gone. And it makes sense because all their contracts expire. And if you look at it monetarily, right? So they probably had to just sit around a round table and they were like, all right, look, who can we pay for Avengers 4? And they're like, well, if we want the big four, we can't pay any of the other ones. And then that was like, okay, well then we'll just have them all die in Infinity War. And that's exactly what happened. So, because Robert Downey has increasingly, he got 50 mil for Iron Man 3, and that was like 5 years ago. So who knows how much they're making now. Scarlett Johansson's the highest grossing female actress because of Marvel, so they're all just making just ass tons of money. So then, like, what they could do is they come out of the soul world, and then they all know they had that conversation. No one else knows they had that conversation, and then they just give like a nod of approval, and then Tony snaps his fingers. It resets everything, but then the OG Avengers just like they like turn to walk away, and then they blow away in the wind. That shit. If that happens now, though, like I should win the lottery, but I would be done. So overall, I gave it like a 9.8 out of 10 because it is really good. It's a fantastic, crazy, good movie that had me in awe. I didn't even know what to say the next day. I was still digesting it. But it is heavily reliant on the fact that you've already seen all the other ones. If you haven't seen all the other ones, at least the ones that involve the Stones or Civil War, you will be so completely lost, you'll have no idea what's going on. And also, you won't be invested in the characters. So, like, if you haven't seen Civil War and Spider-Man, it won't hit you as much when Spider-Man dies. Because that shit, he started crying, and he was, like, hugging him, and he was like, I don't want to go. And that shit, so, go see it.